What drives somebody so hard to prove they're the absolute best, even though they've claimed they've already shown it? That was what we saw tonight in that face to face, testing the morale and the wrestling passion driven by Josh Alexander and Nick Nemeth. As so much came forward verbally, even more is going to come forward tomorrow physically. As we're just coming off tonight's episode of TNA Impact, let's go ahead and simply predict what's ahead and what could arrive out of Emergence. Welcome to the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Simply Predicting, as I always do here. You know what this is. I am the Simple Man of the Simple Brand, forever grateful for all things wrestling. Shout out to the W family on the Twitter and social media platforms. My name is Noel Fawza. Tonight, we're keeping it short, sweet, and simple. It's simply reliable, as we've been demonstrating our passion, calling all things wrestling. Of course, we'll be calling TNA Emergence tomorrow. Welcome to the discussion. Welcome to Simply Predicting. You'll see across our channels. The forum has been included in the chat, so if you want to join the TNA League, your opinions matter. Do get those predictions in. They're officially due, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday night, August the 30th. That being said, before we get into this, Walter, good to see you. Of course, you've been, getting into TNA and getting into everything like me. I don't know if I'm literally rubbing off on you, but it's always a pleasure predicting and commentating with you. Looking forward to calling this tomorrow with you. How you feel about TNA Emergence?
Good. But before tonight, I was about an 8. I think I could jump all the way to 10 for Emergence now. This is what a go home show is supposed to do.
Damn it.
They did a perfect job. So
Literally.
I'm ready. Yeah, they really did.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, that being said, fingers to those that are tuning in. Hope you enjoy the discussion. Please subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Again, get those opinions in and let people know we do this for all the shows across WWE, NXT, TNA, Ring of Honor, and AEW. Sometimes independent showcasing NJPW. And also, he is a UFC expert, calls mixed martial arts and also Bloodsport. And of course, our Bloodsport show was announced. But I think without further ado, now that I got all the simple stuff out of the way, Walter, let's get right into it. So again, tomorrow night, it is TNA Emergence, presented exclusively on TNA Plus. It starts with a countdown for free across all TNA social media platforms, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, you could follow the actual show at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is tomorrow night, August 30th, from Louisville, Kentucky, in the old Foresters Paris Town Hall. Let's go ahead and get right into the countdown. We got 2 countdown matches. One, of course, added tonight during TNA Impact. And again, if you want to avoid spoilers, I suggest you go watch TNA Impact episode of the night because, as Walter says, an incredible go home, including 2 title matches. This right here has no title implications, but has a lot of pride on the line. As the self-proclaimed king of TNA, you guessed it, Fred Kazarian. He goes one-on-one with the time splitter, Kushida. And simply put, these two had a chance to be part of course, Ultimate X. And also, Kazarian had a chance to become the TNA World Champion at Slammiversary, still trying to prove a point while he right now is not even on the main card. Now he's going to use Kushida as an example. Straight up, battle for pride, but you got to consider if Kazarian gets the win on Kushida, that could add towards his ego and maybe him trying to go after the TNA World Championship. And maybe Kushida might reset and go after the X Championship if he overcomes Kazarian here. Most recently, we saw Kushida get the better of a normal Jonathan Gresham. I
A
don't know if that's
weird
going to.
go back. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to hold up, but I'm just going to go along with it for now. But again, can you trust an octopus? They are slimy, just saying. But that being said, Walter, what do you think about this one-on-one exhibition match? Who you got winning?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think Kushida might have slipped and ended up backstage somewhere. We didn't realize it because
Right?
how the hell did they just revert that? And, like, they just totally dropped the storyline out of nowhere. But maybe that's what happened. But Kushida's got momentum right now. But I was gonna immediately when I saw this match, I thought Kushida right off the rip. But I think Frankie Kazarian kind of needs a bone right now. He lost the world heavyweight match. He's on a bit of a losing streak, so I think he may pull this one out because it doesn't. There's no real stakes here. It's just pride. So I feel like you can give him a win here. Uh, it pains me to say, but I think Frankie Kazarian might pull this off. I'm gonna go with Frankie here.
Well, again, if a self-proclaimed king of TNA doesn't win a crown, he might as well be, impeached from his throne. Matt Helms, good to see you, by the way. Appreciate you, as always. But yeah, when I look at Frank Kazarian, I keep thinking about the biggest show to come this year, and that is Bound for Glory. And based on the circumstances out of our main event, I think Frank Kazarian could be first ballot candidate to not only be Bound for Glory, but maybe finally get that eluded sweet victory, the big one. If I'm going to follow that trend on the future, as he was once called, Journey, then he needs to start picking up some wins and prove his point. So I think by hook and by crook, kind of what he did to Joe Hendry back at Against the Odds, still don't forgive him for that, by the way. I'm going to go with Frank Kazarian as well for now. But I also am really wondering if Jonathan Gresham is going to show up as the aide to Kushida if Kazarian tries to attack him post match, or will he be the one that costs him going back to his old roots? Just saying. Well, I have to wait and see. All right. Well, speaking of unknown and where things could go, let's see if PCO is always ready for Matt Cardona's monster. What? Because just as tonight on TNA Impact, again, I did warn you about spoilers, folks. Matt Cardona says he's not 100% clear to compete. And while he has been at odd ends with the director of authority, Santino Marella, he said that he has an unbelievable monster that's going to beat PCO and take his Digital Media International Heavyweight Championship. Of course, PCO, now newlywed to Steph DeLander. PCO, of course, and his team got the win over Matt Cardona and his monsters, Khan and Madman Fulton, much to the happiness of Steph DeLander, who clearly has stood by her man and showed the world that she loves him. But that being said, Matt Cardona is a shyster. He's a guy that's very clever and misdemeaning. He's also the general manager of GCW last time I checked. But PCO just won these titles off Flop Dollar, and this is one of those matches that I truly don't know what to expect. We know it's not going to be a Abyss because Joseph Parks is a producer in WWE, and Hammerstone, arguably the biggest threat in this entire company, he right now will be in Ultimate X, and we'll talk about that here shortly. Walter, where do you stand with this? Who do you think Matt Cardona could have found in this business to confront PCO to be more of a monster than him? Do you think the titles change hands? Keep in mind, both championships are on the line.
Yeah. Too bad Oba Femi's busy this weekend because I feel
Right?
like this is a big opportunity for the WWE NXT crossover. I think they're going to use a main roster guy. You know who I really think this monster is, to be honest, because he's been on a roll and been portrayed as this big monster. It might be Big Bronson Reed because he's been destroying people left and right. And it's like his whole new gimmick is that he's a monster that can get away with it. And if it's Big Bronson Reed, I think we might get our first cross promotion title change in since they started doing this. Because how do you give Bronson Reed this big thick guy that you're trying to? And I know most of the crossover is NXT TNA, but
Right.
why not throw Bronson Reed in there? You're trying to build this guy. How do you do it? You have him cross promotion to dominate a guy and take titles from him, and then you really got to take him serious. He already said he's not appreciated at Raw, so how do you show you're not appreciated? Show up on another show and say, if you don't appreciate me, I can leave at any time. My options are open, and it has to take Adam Pearce has to take him serious now. There's a reason he's never been suspended for the actions he's doing. I just got a weird feeling about it, but I think PCO may be losing the titles here. I'm gonna guess Bronson Reed, but it's like there's so many possibilities. Like I can't even think it. It could be a big giant in NXT, but Obafemi's is busy. I don't know who else you can do. Maybe somebody from GCW, but I really feel like it's an opportunity for Big Bronson Reed here.
I like that a lot. And I definitely think about, again, NXTNA further crossover. Again, I'm still shot from the Rosemary thing. That took me off guard. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But again, thinking about Matt Cardona, how he's always ready, and who he might have up his sleeve. Let's not forget being the Jeremiah GCW. For all we know, it might be Jinder Mahal. But I was actually thinking about when you said Bronson Reed, of course, the former Jonah top dog, ready for war, who ran roughshod in TNA Impact for quite a stint of time before he faced the Walking Woman Josh Alexander. If there's no direction from him on Raw, this would be a great segue. But based on what I saw tonight on TNA Impact, it was Cody Deaner and Jake Something.
Something.
I had to do it. Jake Something that were taking on the ABC. And the ABC got the 1, 2, 3. Too sweet. So it looks like right now, Jake Something, who again is not about the people's choice, doesn't have direction or is not even in line maybe for a championship. with Matt Cardona maybe taking advantage of Jake Something's built up animosity against maybe the people, because while the people may have chose him, the people haven't given him anything. I think Jake Something would be a huge curveball here for keeping it in house, and I think it could be him. And Jake Summon, again, he's been that unique anomaly that's challenged for the X Division Championship. He's not even involved in Ultimate X. He lost out even winning the title when Speedball Mike Bailey was defending it in their triple threat qualifier to begin with. I think if you're keeping it in house, though, I would go with Jake Something. But the fact of the matter is, right now, Matt Cardona is trying to make it personal more against Steph the Lander than PCO. But then again, PCO does have his former property, the Digital Media Championship. And you know that Matt Cardona is going to take the titles, whoever wins it off PCO, if he gets his way. But the fact of the matter that this was just made literally tonight on TNA, I don't think PCO is losing them. So I'm actually going to go against you, regardless whether it's Jonah, Jake
Mhm.
Something, or some other anomaly, Jinder Mahal, or maybe Josh Briggs comes
Mhm.
back from the M1. I'm not sure if the M1 victory is over yet. I think PCO is going to retain. So right out of the gate, out of two matches so far, I'm against you on this one. I'm going with PCO retaining. You got to
And,
consider right now, one, he's not human, and two,
mm,
we talk about Sting. The only for sure about Sting's nothing. The only thing for sure about PCO, he's not human, and more often than not, he always seems to find a way to win. Just saying,
and
or come back to
and
life.
he it's true, and he just won the titles, but I feel like he's the type of character that can afford to not have such a long reign because he's been around for so long, and it's not. He's the kind of character, kind of like how Kane was, where you don't really need a title. You could just be the one to, like, remember Kane went so long without a title, but
Right.
you may be onto something, pun intended, when you said Jake something, because Cardona can always use the tag. I don't have someone, but I have something, and it could be
Oh,
him.
Jesus. What have we done? Well, I mean, again, I just think right now with the fact that Matt Cardona probably wants to be the one to break PCO and break Steph the Lander's heart, it would make sense for him to actually get the win in the end. And you know that he and PCO are going to eventually clash. It's just a matter of when. But I think something would be very unique. And disqualification, Matt Cardona can make the statement, but it doesn't mean he wins the championships. So we'll see. Because we're out. Good to see you, by the way. And again, with so much happening in all things wrestling, shout out to W family. I understand people may not watch TNA Emergence because you got SmackDown, you got NWW Capital Collision, you got Rampage, you got whatever you do on your Friday night, whether it's restaurants, sports, or engagement. Just do what you wish and enjoy. And again, respect one another, support each other, and enjoy SmackDown. May be worthwhile despite you're dealing with bootleg bloodline. Cheers, Chris. Get some rest. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our main card. That was the countdown. Let's go ahead and get right into it. I think it's only fitting we kick off with this because you got to deal with the structure. So why not do it in the opening? It usually is the opening. I talked about Jake Sullivan earlier, former participant in this match. I talk about the X division being the alternative division where absolutely anybody can find themselves and define themselves, the division of no limits. It is the TNA original match since 2003, the 52nd, might I add, in history, Ultimate X match. And this time it is for the X Division Championship. Let's freaking go. It is Zachary Wentz. It is Hammerstone. You heard me right. The biggest man in the company, Hammerstone, is in this match. Good Lord Almighty. Speedball Mike Bailey. One good hand, Jason Hotch. Yep, that's not Photoshop, folks. NXT's in this. Chase U's own Riley Osborne and Laredo Kid, former digital media champion. And the unique thing about this match, there's only one person in this match with previous Ultimate X experience, and it's the champion himself, who won his first title in Ultimate X. Now he comes in defending it. As tradition across no DQ and prediction leagues, and as I've done too, when it comes to 6-person plus field gimmick matches, we usually get 2 picks. So I'm going to allow that. So, Walter, you're on the dot. You got a primary worth 2 and you got a secondary worth 1. Do you think Speedball can outlast the field? Do you think Hammerstone can become arguably the second biggest man in X Division history outside of Biss and Samoa Joe to claim this title? Do you think we're going to get sort of surprised? Do you think Zachary Wentz could maybe win and maybe that could lead to him and Wesley fighting over the X Division Championship either in TNA or in NXT? Or do you think Laredo Kid maybe takes it to Mexico? What do you think about this? And what are your 2 picks?
First of all, I love this. This is one of my favorite matches always in TNA. It's like the staple of what made
Damn right.
TNA what it is now. Um, but I can't. My primary is going to be Mike Bailey. I don't think he's going to lose the title here. I think he retains this here. Um, but I'm telling you, it's going to be one hell of a match, and I think Wesley might be involved in stopping Zachary Wentz. It might look like he's going to win, and then something's going to happen with Wesley, and it's going to lead to Sunday. But with that being said, my second pick, because of what's going on Sunday, I would say Zachary Wentz because maybe secretly Wesley wants him to win. He knew that he had this match, so he timed the match perfectly for Sunday so that there's something else on the line, not just his own ego. If Zachary Wentz can win the X Division title, then Wesley can go for it on Sunday. But then again, do you really want to bounce? First of all, you're doing inter promotional, and then you're gonna also hot potato the title at the same time. I think you diminish it a little. So I'm gonna say Speedball Mike Bailey is no matter what, Speedball keeps it. But it would be interesting to see if Zachary Wentz can do that and what happens Sunday. It'll make it a lot more interesting for Sunday.
Right. So the thing of the matter is tonight on TNA Impact, Speedball Mike Bailey had an impromptu title defense against Rich Swann, their first ever one-on-one encounter. It was quite a tit for tat, move for move, mirror image, Spider-Man meme type of match. And at the end of the day, thanks to Speedball Mountain Tread 7, bopping bang, dropping that flop dollar on his face on the floor, Speedball Mike Bailey was able to overcome Rich Swann and hold on to the X Division Championship to defend it here in Ultimate X. Why Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel were watching it from on high. Trey Miguel, former X Division champion, not even involved in this. Maybe Trey Miguel could be here on behalf of his friend, supporting him or helping him, adding more to that rascal tension of Wesley showing up, trying to get a bit of one-upsmanship and mental warfare ahead of No Mercy. To your point, of course, those two will face each other at No Mercy Sunday, one-on-one. But the thing of the matter is, I also look at this field and I think about Hammerstone right now. He's the biggest obstacle to overcome, quite literally. Former defying MLW World Heavyweight Champion. And then you got Jason Hodge, who, again, John Skyler, might take a couple of good hands to climb up and grab that championship. And then you got Laredo Kid, who, again, former Digital Media champion with the Lucha Libre background. You know he's going to do something crazy off that structure. He and Riley Osborne might have a unique encounter, considering Riley Osborne's a bit of a daredevil. So there's a bunch of unique dynamics and possible outside factors that could get involved here. But when I think about the SVG Championship right now, I do think about Speedball Mike Bailey being my primary retaining. There's a reason why when he originally held it, he didn't lose it till Bound for Glory against, you guessed it, Frankie Kazarian. And I think he's going to have a similar run here right now while he's holding that title to beating Mustafa Ali at Slammiversary. As far as the second, though, it's very unique to figure out who could actually come out of this match as the champion. Because again, none of these men have previous Ultimate X experience, and none of these men are a former X Division champion. I look at this and I figure about Rousey Osborne with it. That's more gold for Chase U, and that really breaks things even more open with NXT having another title too. Jesus. But then again, Javon Evans, yes, please. But I also do think about, again, adding that title to the Wesley and Zachary Wentz feud could escalate to Trey Miguel versus Wesley, which I think is the end game. Trey Miguel being a former X Division champion be a very unique way to bring it back on him as a babyface. So I think right now, based on storytelling, circumstances, and the tail of the tape, I'm going to go with Speedball Mike Bailey as primary, and I'm just going
Okay.
to go out there because, again, Hammerstone's going to barely have to climb the damn structure to reach the damn title unless they make it higher. I'm going with Hammerstone as the second because if they're going to stop Hammerstone from reaching that title, everybody's going to have to gang up against this monster. Just saying. Heck, when you put somebody in the other team backbreaker, they might find a way to stand up on his shoulders and try and grab the title. Key word, title's on the line, not an X. Literally, whoever wins this is the X Division champion. And this is ahead of Victory Road and Bound for Glory, where, again, Option C was cashed in previously. So,
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I want to know if the title's gonna hang vertically or horizontally, because usually the X hangs down like this. Like, how are you gonna do that with a title? It's unique that it's the title that's on the line for this.
well, I mean, as somebody who went to Slammiversary live in 2021 and saw Ultimate X4, that very championship held by Josh Alexander, and at one point saw a human tower of submissions from it, I can tell you that probably more likely will be the title suspended from the cross hanging down. That's usually how
Oh,
they
okay.
do it because it'd be weird to have it like horizontal. But then
Yeah.
again, in this era of TNA and NXT crossover, who knows? They might change the dynamic. Weirder things have happened. But yeah, those are my two picks. And again, folks, let your opinions be known in the comments. Be sure to fill out the form. Tell your friends as we cover TNA wholeheartedly. I am hashtag TNA faithful, and I may even go bound for glory. I haven't decided yet. Let's go ahead and switch gears now, talking about, TNA original. How about the TNA original versus the maybe next torchbearer? Because it looks like Steve Macklin has set his sights on burying the past once for all. But how do you finally bury somebody that's died and lived 10 times over and has won everything? Let's go ahead and talk about this unique exhibition, our only singles match outside of the World Championship. It is Mr. Mayhem himself, Steve Macklin, going one-on-one with Eric Young. Tonight on Impact, Eric Young took his eyes off Hammerstone, got caught in the Nightmare Pendulum, and Hammerstone got his singles win back against the world-class Maniac. Macklin saying, Eric Young, despite all your accolades and the fact you may be the heart and soul of TNA, you're nothing more but a man in front of me. And right now, I'm going to put you out to pass. Of course, Steve Macklin was the first man to be eliminated at Slammiversary for the TNA World Championship. And Eric Young lost out against Moose earlier this year at Sacrifice. So both these men, again, got a lot of pride, but also one right now is trying to literally use the other as a stepping stone, tag him and bag him, to maybe get back at the ultimate prize. So, Walter, we talk about Eric Young again. Literally, he is the heart and soul. He is the breathing spirit of TNA. He was the guy that brought us into the new era of TNA at Hard to Kill. But Macklin, he's a guy that is always observing and has turned this into his AO, era of operations. But he has yet to really recover since being the first one eliminated from Slammiversary in that six-way eliminator for the TNA World Championship. So where do you stand in this unique one-on-one, first time ever encounter?
Yeah, after AJ Styles left, I really think Eric Young really became Mr. TNA. I think originally it was AJ Styles, and then the mantle went right to Eric Young when he left, and he carried the company for a while. It's kind of hard to pick against him, but I think Steve Macklin might pull this out because he's going to go on an upward trajectory. Because, like you said, he's using them as a stepping stool. I feel like he's got to get that bad taste out of his mouth of that being the first one eliminated out of all those people. The deck was stacked against him, mind you. Joe Henry and all these big time names were in that match, and so somebody had to lose first. So poor Steve Macklin had to be the one. But I feel like, no pun intended, that was a sacrifice for him to be able to go for him to go on this trajectory. And I think he's going to start piling on some wins so that he has some credibility to go after some kind of title via, whether it's digital, whether it's X Division, some kind of title. Whether he finds a partner, I don't know, gets a tag title, but Macklin's it's a new, we're almost in 2025. You needs to build some new stars, and Eric Young's been around the block. Who better to passing torches than Eric Young? So I think it's Steve Macklin's going to pull this one out.
Yeah, for me, I look at Steve Mack and I think about when he and the Virtuosa, the Apparaldo ruled TNA both as the world and the knockout world champion. I think Macklin proved a lot during his short run as TNA world champion, and he's been waiting to get back there ever since that loss to Alex Shelley against all odds. To win over Eric Young, who is a former TNA world champion in his own right, in their first time ever one-on-one match, it would be massive for Steve Macklin ahead of Victory Road. And again, we're still forging our way to Bound for Glory. So to try and emerge victorious here is a really good motivation towards greater things for you ahead in TNA. So I think that for me, I gotta go with Macklin as well. And considering Macklin again is no nonsense, I think that he's literally going to do anything he can to make sure he tags and bags Eric Young and plants him KIA in the middle of the ring. And shout out to Dattila, who apparently also agrees with us. Jantas needed to win. Dattila, you need to next time message me what your schedule is so you can be a part of this. Please follow her folks, their work with Body Slam, and follow her Rangers of Wrestling. Of course, she also covers TNA and other forms of wrestling. Cheers, pal. You definitely need to morph into this grid at some point. Precision predicting. I miss you. But yeah, for me, tag him and bag him. Eric Young, again, he's one of those guys that just doesn't need this. He's done everything you could do in this company, and he always will be the heart and soul of TNA. And somehow, every time you think that you kill him, he comes back to life. Just saying. World Class Man versus Mr. Mayhem, Guerrilla Warfare, maybe to come ahead, maybe Full Metal Mayhem after this match, because again, it's the first time ever. This could be a feud that builds out, but I think Macklin gets the win here. All right.
Mhm.
Well, I trusted that we were going to be the same on that. But Walter, I got a question for you. Do you trust the system? Because it is all out warfare when it comes to the system versus TNA. And boy, did it come ahead tonight on TNA Impact. It is the system, Moose, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and JDC going up against the team of the Hardys, manager of Hardy, Mike Santana, and of course, I don't need to say his name because
and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry! Joe Hendry. All right. So, of course, what happened tonight, we had Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards in singles matches, respectfully. It was Joe Hendry that got the better of Brian Myers after finding a way to have Alicia Edwards and Eddie Edwards ejected from ringside. Following that, Mike Santana got a dose of revenge immediately, following what happened a couple weeks ago, getting the better. Good match, by the way. Damn good show tonight by TNA against Eddie Edwards, spinning the block and taking his damn head off. And then all hell broke loose as the system came out, and literally it was guerrilla warfare. Now, of course, we know that literally Jeff Hardy was taken out by JDC. Matt Hardy got revenge at Slammiversary. The Hardys might be here for one last run, maybe after those tag team titles, but the system ain't going to allow that pride to happen. And of course, the system's been running roughshod on TNA ever since it arrived, and have been looking for a system reboot since they all lost the gold except for Alicia Edwards. A couple of weeks ago, Mike Santana got bombarded by the system and still fought triumphantly against Moose, but if it wasn't for all that assault done by them, Mike Santana could have very well pinned the former TNA world champion. The jury's still out on that. And of course, Joe Henry's been at odds ends against the system, considering the fact he is the guy now that has 3 pinfall victories on Moose, including eliminating him from that match Slammiversary. You could argue to say that Joe Henry is the reason why the system failed at TNA's biggest pay-per-view of the year, arguably. That being said, the system right now, they might be on the verge of a full shutdown if they don't win this. And favor right now, momentum is on the challenger side. Not to mention, we know that Joe Hendry is not only involved tomorrow night, he will be involved Sunday trying to be the face of NXT as he goes one-on-one against All Ego, Ethan Page. So, Walter, how does the system work here come tomorrow in this 8-man tag team match? Do you trust the system and do you go with it? Or do you believe that Team TNA finally shuts the system down?
I don't trust the system. I trust the system to have great matches. Everyone that's involved in the system always finds a way to have a good match, no matter who they fight against. So that part I trust. But I think in terms of IT talk, the system is corrupted, and it's gonna need a shutdown or a reboot, or it's gonna need some antivirus. Yeah, it's gonna need some antiviruses or something, because Joe Henry got in there and he really corrupted it. He was a virus and attacked the system from within, and literally all they have left is half of the tag titles, because Masha is not even part of the system. So you can't really say the system has both titles when you think about it.
Yep.
Besides that, Joe Henry has the biggest match of his NXT part of his career.
Just call it, Walter. No, don't even do that. All right. I'm just going to be straight up. Let me talk to you. It's not about the brand. It's about literally what you do in this business. This man who defined music, his love of music, and brought into wrestling, and has been doing this all over the world, finally coming this close to glory, absolutely deserves it. This is the biggest match in Joe Hendry's career. Please continue, though.
Yeah. I was going to say that, but he's had some TNA world title matches, too. That's why I didn't want to just throw that to the wayside, but it really is his biggest match. But I think he needs momentum, so their team wins, and I actually think Henry gets the pinfall to get momentum for Sunday to make you further believe, pun intended, that
I believe
at Sunday.
Yeah,
so I'm going with the Hardys, Santana, and Henry. Yeah.
Again, simply put, do you believe in Joe Hendry? But yeah, it's just one of those things right now where I also look at the fact that Mike Santana, he's trying to get revenge against Moose, and the Hardys, they've been trying to get revenge pretty much against the system that literally, cheated them out of the TNA World Tag Team Championships. I think the system has ran its course. All right. They've been going since January, but eventually every system fails. And I think the system will fail here. Plus, you can't stifle that momentum of Joe Hendry ahead of him going over to NXT for the NXT Championship. You look at NXT and A as a whole, Joe Hendry has been the MVP outside Jordan Grace across this partnership. He's got literally everything going for him. So I believe that definitely Team TNA beats the system. I'm going with Team TNA.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I also want to give a shout out real quick. Datilla will be starting her review of tonight's episode of TNA here very shortly. But me and her, we might do a review of Emergence at some point. Date and time and channel to be determined. So keep me posted on that, pal, as you morph to a different zone. Datilla saying NXT TNA is still not enough to get me to watch NXT. Ouch.
Don't let JJ hear that.
Too late. I know JJ's watching. He's going to boo her on Saturday Shenanigans. I guarantee you. Check out Saturday Shenanigans this week, folks. Of course, hosted by the Ring of Wrestling, JJ Williams. All right. Well, you did talk about Alicia Edwards. How fitting that she wasn't in this graphic, considering she will be in action. Let's go ahead and talk about the only knockout showcase. Whereas the Knockouts World Champion, still thank Christ, Jordan Grace, along with Spitfire, going up against Ash by Elegance and the Militia, Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovitz. Of course, not Alicia Edwards tried to play on behalf of the system, failed both times. And we also saw the Militia try to dethrone Jordan Grace and help Ash with her match by Elegance for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. And thank Christ, not only Rosemary probably took that caution here, the Undead Realm. I can only pray and hope. Sorry, not sorry. But Spitfire also came along and neutralized the Militia. And thankfully, Jordan Grace is still our TNA Knockouts World Champion. To call that match a beautiful disaster is a result at that term. Dear God Almighty. Anyway, that brings us, though, to tomorrow. The fact that Jordan Grace, the Juggernaut, is still the bearer of the TNA Knockouts World Championship, and hopefully Ash is now put in the rearview mirror. But Spitfire have not lost sight on the fact they want those TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships. So it's a trios match. Simply put, you got a tale of two matches, two worlds here, although I think one world's finally put to bed tonight. And at some point, something's got to give when it comes to Militia and Spitfire. I'm just saying. Walter, where do you stand with this Knockouts Trios match?
You know what? I was actually a little conflicted with this one because a Spitfire and Big Mama Pump win, you give an actual reason as to why they deserve a title shot because they pinned the champion. But the other way around, Ash by Elegance. If she gets a rematch, you need her to win here to prove why she needs that rematch for that women's title and prove that she actually is a deserving contender. So I'm so conflicted with this one. But the fact that because Big Mama Pump's title is not on the line and she's been killing it, she can afford to lose because it's not going to hurt. It's not going to affect her actual title reign. I really think the heels go for this one. I think Ash by Elegance wins here so that you can first of all, you won't hear the end of it because of her damn mouth. And then she's gonna prove why she's deserving of the rematch and actually get the tag titles. Get the women's title shot. And believe it or not, she might be the one to end Big Mama Pump's reign eventually. Although I hate to say it, but all good things must come to an end, and her reign has literally been over a year, and she's been killing it.
Actually,
at some point you gotta lose.
Well, I mean, I get that, but she's been the face of TNA since being Trinity at TNR to Kill in January, so not over a year.
Yeah.
Botch.
Almost a year. Yeah.
Not even close, man. 200 plus days. 13 defenses. Learn something, WWE, not named Roxanne Perez. But I also, again, want to just put this out here, Walter. For the love of Christ, man, we've seen Ash by Elegance challenge Jordan Grace now twice, including a match she made herself after screwing Rosemary out of that damn open challenge, why Jordan Grace might as well be challenging the entire NXT Women's Division. That being said, I do agree with Attila when it comes to the Knockouts Tag Championships, where it might as well be the new Toxic Attraction, not bootleg, and the other tag teams that are developing in the women's division of NXT. We need to get away from Spitfire and freaking Militia before I go crazy more than Ash by Elegance and Jordan Grace, where I saw every freaking pink on impossible and cubic zirconium used to nine that ridiculous, beautiful disaster where she freaking muscle bustered Ash by Elegance off the apron through the table to the floor, going to happen to a better woman. That being said, it's one of those matches where I kind of hate this match. It's put them in a corner.
Me too.
Because I don't need to see Ash and Grace for the third damn time in less than 3 months without merit. I don't need to see Spitfire versus Militia for the third damn time without merit. But I do think about the other aspects of one of the tag champs hitting the world champion. Ash is left for the back door because Militia don't work nice with anybody. And maybe Ash finally stays away from the world championship. And we build a new sub-feud for the TNA Knockouts World Championship into Victory Road. I think about Victory Road. You know what happened last year at Victory Road? It was Trinity versus Alicia Edwards. If we go against the system and the men, considering right now we're literally looking at baby faces maybe winning across the board, which I guess is not completely abnormal, but still it's a little odd. I think an idea of Alicia Edwards versus Jordan Grace, considering Alicia right now is the only one that really has brought the system some form of life support still, and currently has, like you said, one half of the TNA Knockouts World Championship. Maybe they run back Alicia Edwards challenging for the World Championship against Jordan Grace at Victory Road. Second year in a row that Alicia gets the chance against the champion, and we finally stay away from Ash. So, as much as I kind of don't want to say it, considering that momentum has been on the babyface's side, I think this one I got to give to the heels this time. I think the Militia gets the better of the world champion, and I think we build a new sub-program for Jordan Grace that doesn't involve Ash, but I'm actually going with the opposition here because I've had enough of Militia versus Spitfire. Otherwise, you know that Spitfire is winning here because they're going to run that back at Victory Road. So, call it a point loss, call it a shot in the dark. I'm going to say that Alicia, with Mosh's help, pins Jordan Grace and guarantees herself a TNA World title shot and go with the heel side winning, even if Ash is at the forefront of that graphic. Damn it.
That's not a bad idea because if she beats Jordan and becomes the champ, that could be very well be the reset that the system actually needs.
Yeah. Let's see what DJ Mudking, good to see it. There's the Renegade Wrestling Magazine Studios. Please follow them, folks. Appreciate you, brothers. Again, let's see what it's saying here. I think Jordan Grace should drop the title to Jada Parker or Cora Jade eventually. Well, I mean, again, she does open challenges, and I would not be shocked to see another person from NXT show up considering the depth of that division. Just saying. I like that idea, DJ. And Kazane Studios, Rosemary Wendy Chu for Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Rosemary, a former 3-time TNA Knockouts World Champion. Not a bad shout out, but of course, we got to see if Wendy Chu leaves Kalani Jordan asleep in a nightmare and takes the NXT Women's North American Championship this Sunday, brother. So we'll see. Again, that is creepy.
The only way that Jordan Grace losing the title to an NXT person works for me is if they make it fair and somebody from TNA wins an NXT title too. You can't just make one company look way better than the other.
Agree. And I do think that's still something to come because right now we're just getting more crossover. As again, we just saw Rosemary from the Knockouts cross over to NXT. So again, we'll have to wait and see. But again, I like the fact that we are partisan in our predictions. But two things need to happen out of this match. No more Jordan Grace versus Ash. And no more Spitfire versus Militia. Damn it.
I'm sorry. There might be a third time is the charm. They say we might have to suffer through Ash and Grace one more time. I don't know.
Just put me out of my misery. All right.
Hey,
anyway,
if WWE could keep throwing what's the name? Carmelo Hayes and Andrade at us for the 20,000th time. Like they keep, if these people have one more match, I'm gonna pull the little hair I have out too, because those two like have a best of 7 series without actually calling it a best of 7 series, and it feels like that's what's happening with Grace and Ash.
God, don't give him ideas. I'm just saying. At least with those two, I can buy into a best of 7 series. Seriously, because the more they're capable. Anyway, let's go ahead and keep going here. Again, we've had a lot of fun, a lot of talk. We're thinking about, again, how this NXT crossover and TNA could really work ahead of the CW premiere of NXT. We got Victory Road literally in 2 weeks after this. And then, of course, we'll be Bound for Glory in October. Again, might go there, don't know yet. But let's go ahead and get right into, because again, folks, this show is short, but you better buckle up. Because let's go ahead and get into our main event. Never before have the words professional wrestling demonstrated the additive pride when it comes to what you believe in yourself than what you heard in the sit-down face-to-face between Nick Nemeth and Josh Alexander. Buckle up, Walter and Gain, because we are about to engage in a 1 hour long Iron Man match for the TNA World Championship. Let's freaking go. It's the wanted man Nick Nemeth going 1-on-1 against Josh Alexander. Okay, so simply put, and also long-term put, this comes down with one thing. Truly, what have you done for me lately? And are you truly the best because you say you are and others believe in it? And damn it, you can prove it every day, every time, and you're always willing to. Has Josh Alexander forgotten that, or is he too stuck in his own ego? Just saying. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this. Josh Alexander, the longest reigning TNA World Champion in this company's history, of course, had to lose the title via vacated due to injury. Nick Nemeth, of course, welcomed in at Rebellion, had his chance, came up short, and eventually, of course, Excellent Version became the TNA World Champion, demonstrated that he's willing to die for this title, be a fine champion, show why he's the absolute best. And right now, everything is going my way. What have you been doing lately, Josh Alexander, besides sulking and blaming everybody else for your troubles? And then you heard what Josh Alexander said when it comes to, I don't need to prove anything to nobody. Everyone else should be on my time. I am the standard. Hard to argue with this man. Now, there's been AJ Styles and Bobby Roode. There's been Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe, or excuse me, Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles. Botch. There's been Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. There's been the Virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo, Restored in Grace. Those all went for 30 minutes. But then, again, he is the standard. We have seen Josh Alexander go the distance Iron Man style in an actual Iron Man match against TJP with overtime for the SVN Championship back in 2021. And, of course, we saw him face People Might Billion in an open challenge on TV while holding the TNA World Championship that went to nearly a 60-minute draw back in 2022. And we also saw the Everest versus the Dominator Lashley in 2017. A little bit of a super match for you. Again, I follow history. I watch TNA. I'm TNA faithful. But the fact of the matter is that Nick Nemeth's only been involved in a 30-minute Iron Man match. We don't talk about that for reasons. It's one of those things where I look at, again, the pride of Nick Nemeth and the drive of Josh Alexander and the fact that his partner in the North is right now the face of NXT. They went 30 minutes to a time-limit draw, and Nick Nemeth wanted 5 more minutes. Josh Alexander didn't give it. And ever since Josh Alexander really made this turn, he really has been all about himself, all ego. But do you really vacate the title off Nick Nemeth to really try and bridge this prohibited portal when it comes to the NXT and the TNA World Championship at this moment? There's a lot of unknown and speculation here right now where the North might literally rule NXT NA with Iron Fists. I'm extremely torn on this. And also to add more fuel to the fire as predictions tradition, you guys have to try and predict the final score result for this match. So good luck. With that being said, Walter, you kind of know the backstory here, but you also know the long-term history and the pride that both these men hold themselves to when it comes to calling themselves the best every day. They do it, damn it, in that ring of professional wrestling. Who leads Emergence, the TNA World Champion, at the end of 60 minutes?
This one has me torn. Pretty much, one is just a Canadian version of the other because they both have outstanding amateur backgrounds. They both just want to prove how great they are. They both can literally have a match with a broom and it'll be 5 stars. They both can sell. And this recent Josh Alexander's heel turn is pretty much the "what about me" Dolph Ziggler heel to run. They like these two are so synonymous with each other, like it's not even funny. Like the comparisons is crazy. But I do think because of what you referred to, I was really thinking this. You said buckle up for 60 minutes.
Yep.
I think we're going past 60 minutes. I think there's going to end up a sudden death thing just to tie a nice, neat little bow to that previous thing where he wanted 5 more minutes. He's going to get it by force because they're going to end up going into overtime. These two are going to be seen as equals, and then something. Nick just pulls it out. I'm going to say final score 4-3, but a sudden death rules. I really think this is going to go into overtime just to tie the bow around that one.
So you got Nick Nemeth retaining?
Yes, he's going to retain 4-3.
Well, again, we see what Josh Alexander is willing to do nowadays to prove his point why he's the standard. And again, we don't know if Nick Nemeth can hang in these type of waters. We've never seen Nick Nemeth go for 60 minutes. And what's Nick Nemeth willing to do now that he is the champion? It's one thing to hold the belt. It's another thing to prove why you're holding it. This is going to be Nick Nemeth's toughest match his entire pro wrestling career. And for Josh Alexander, I almost feel like it's put up or shut up, because if the standard of TNA can't win back his title in what he calls his match, then what the hell is next for Josh Alexander, who put this company on his back since 2017? I'm extremely torn on this, but it is one of those things where I look at Nick Nemeth, I look at his heart, his spirit, his drive, his motivation, his statement. I think he is here for the long haul. And I do think TNA right now is going for a renaissance. Not to mention the fact that I no longer can watch TNA on YouTube. I have to watch it on TNA Plus because Ultimate Insiders is sunsetted. Been a fun 36 months for that. I'm kind of pissed off at that. Fucking money grab. But I think I am going to agree with you that Nick Nemeth wins. But I don't think it's going to be a score that deep, considering both of these men's amateur wrestling backgrounds and how far they're going to go to break each other. Keep in mind, pinfalls haven't been a pinfall, submission, or disqualification. We're not surprised considering what Josh Alexander's been doing. He uses a low blow to score a dirty fall. I think it is going to go just to 60 minutes, but I think the score stops 3-2 in favor of, oh, God, man.
It hurts me too, man. It's like I'm so conflicted.
Well, again, we got to think about Bound for Glory. We got to think about the future of TNA. We got to think about who truly is here. And we also know for sure that Josh Alexander signed a new contract, which is why, as much as I hate to say it, it's one of those things when it comes to Nick Nemeth. But God, okay. So the way I see it is Bound for Glory, Frank Kazarian challenges Nick Nemeth for the TNA World Championship, or Joe Hendry challenges Josh Alexander for the TNA World Championship. It's cause and effect based on the result of this match. I'm calling it right now. And I am going to say, considering what I believe more in that should be happening in this company, I'm going to say that, fuck it. 3-2. Josh Alexander becomes the TNA World Champion.
Woo!
I think Bound for Glory will be Joe Hendry's night more than anything, considering that Josh Alexander cost Joe Hendry his first ever TNA World Championship opportunity and a receipt yet to be delivered. And Josh Alexander and Joe Hendry are longer termed involved in TNA. You saw how quick Nick Nemeth lost the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship to David Finlay. It's one of those things where Nick Nemeth achieved the moment, but it just doesn't give him longevity. It just doesn't seem like it's there for him, or the business just doesn't want to give it. He beat the system. He finally made a point, now across two companies, not to mention a champion in AAA. But I think Josh Alexander once again gets back what he never lost. I'm going to say Josh Alexander becomes the new TNA World Champion and a score of 3-2. But this is definitely going to be probably TNA's match of the year. Just saying. I believe that wholeheartedly.
And you're right. Nick has never held a main big time title more than a few months. Like every single reign he's ever had, has been pretty much a board meeting. That's it. Once the meeting is over, he lost the title. So he does have a history of that.
He's already got two great defenses, of course, with Mustafa Ali and, of course, Josh Alexander's 30-minute draw. But I think, again, prove a point here. Prove how far you're willing to go. But I don't think he's willing to go further than what Josh Alexander has been doing since 2017, and not what he's willing to do to get back what he never lost. And it just feels like, to me, Bound for Glory, how poetic. We always have been believing. He finally doesn't believe. I think Joe Hendry finally can become TNA World Champion at Bound for Glory, and I'm holding out for that. I just don't think that they're going to give it to Frank Kazarian this year. I think Kazarian could win the Call Your Shot gauntlet if they do that, and he could challenge it for that Hard to Kill or maybe Overdrive, where he had his last TNA World Championship opportunity. But that being said, Josh Alexander for TNA World Champion at the end of the 60 minutes. Why you went with Nick Nemeth. Well,
So you say that's Alexander is the centerpiece that connects the title from Nick to Henry. He's just the connecting piece.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. I believe. Well, that being said, Walter, I believe also that this is going to be a very interesting show, considering that's it regarding tomorrow night. So again, folks, what do you believe in as we get ready for Emergence? Do you trust the system? Do you believe that the militia continues to run roughshod? Do you believe that mayhem for all? And do you think that Josh Alexander still is the standard of TNA? Or at the end of the day, is Nick Nemeth not only going to show up or prove that he is better than him and worthy to be called TNA World Champion? As we look towards Victory Run and Bound for Glory, thank you for tuning in to this Simply Predicting discussion with Simply Reliable. We'll be back here tomorrow with coverage and also predicting for our Bash Berlin ahead of that. Get your opinions in. Form is there. Form is on my social media. Let's freaking go. TNA faithful. Let's enjoy this. And again, Walter, buckle up for the longest call of your life. That being said, it was nice doing arguably the shortest predicting with you in a long time. Really enjoyed it. I hope others enjoyed it too. Anything you want to plan promote, where can people find you? Besides tomorrow.
Well, obviously tomorrow, the Simply Reliable team up.
Right.
Is it a 3-man booth for this one?
Yes, it is. And let's give that love, of course, to Mega Wrestling JJ Williams, who will be on the call with us. Please follow him on Kathleen Studios. JJ, buckle up, bruh. You know I've already called one of these. Join the club. Continue, Walter.
Yeah. But in terms of my personal on the X, Twitter, or whatever the heck you want to call it, it's at Walter Alex Cruz. The business Instagram is Cowfire Farms. And then, of course, the YouTube, you can find me at Rage of Wrestling. That's it for me.
Yeah, simple put. And again, I'm not going to say the same thing over and over again, considering I'm nonstop action when it comes to commentating TNA, WWE, and NXT across the 3-day weekend. So, simply
So are
put,
you saying
folks,
you're total nonstop?
Probably. I am insane. But also, I am a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! We only wish to encourage you. There are no winners, no losers, no betters. Just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too. Judge your fans, adjust your life, and enjoy professional wrestling. It's truly as simple as that. Again, follow me on the Twitter and on YouTube if you choose, and in Foster916 for all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, the entire WWE family on Twitter and social media platforms. Check out our entire playlist for our podcast. We just did another impromptu last night discussing and reviewing All In and looking at the fallout that came across with Dynamite as we're about to go all out next week. As Walter says, and as JJ also alluded to, behind closed doors, we, of course, will be back here tomorrow with Simply Predicting Bash at the Berlin. That'll be 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time before we give you our coverage of TNA Emergence. That will start at Countdown, if not 15 minutes prior for warm-up discussion, 7:15 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. And your predictions are due officially 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday night, August 30th. So get them in for TNA Emergence. And again, after the Bash in Berlin discussion, and while Emergence is going on, I'll put out the Bash in Berlin form. The NXT No Mercy form is already put out too. So I think until then, that basically wraps everything up in a nice little bow. Just want to give quick plugs real quick for some other friends here. You saw Datilla earlier in the chat. Go check out her review for the Night Scene Impact, folks, and follow her at Rangers and Wrestling. Hope to see you at the Saturday Shenanigans, pal. Follow the Big Baller, Big G. He'll be doing his own commentary call with German spots for Bash of the Berlin. And, of course, the Mega Wrestling JJ Williams. You saw social media earlier, but stay tuned for his love of wrestling returning after this weekend, and you'll see what he will be covering. He'll talk more about that, I'm sure, too, on the Saturday Night Shenanigans. Till then, thank you for tuning in for the Civil Discussion. I bid you all now a fine adieu. Good luck to everybody involved in the TNA League 2, including you. And until tomorrow, when it comes to Civil Doing Bash Berlin, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, make a positive impact in life and have a good night. Trust your instincts, but don't trust the system. Thanks for tuning in to the TNA Faithful City Predicting. Have a good night, folks. Oh boy, this is going to kill my voice before the other two shows. I'm just going to put it out there right now. Have plenty of water on standby. These two are going to prove what professional wrestling truly is in every context of the word.